Hey, my kindergarten friends, I am going to read this book today. It is called Ada Twist, Scientist, and I took the cover off, so all you see is a really cool picture. And I want you to look at that picture, and if you've done this experiment, when I see you tomorrow at STEM, tell me what happened and why you think it happened. So Ada Twist, Scientist is one of my favorite books because it talks about how to be a good scientist, and we're going to learn about how to be a good scientist and doing experiments and having hypotheses. Hypothesis is a good idea. Ada Marie said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced on her crib and looked all around, observing the world but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break with a trail of chaos, that's like crazy wildness, chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound and sight and didn't slow down till she conked out at night. Look at that mess. That would be chaos. Her parents were frazzled, but tried not to freak as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly young Ada, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. So they're trying not to worry too much because everybody grows and learns in their own time. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all parents would. Ada's chin quivered. That means it kind of trembled a little bit. But she didn't cry. She took a deep breath and she simply asked, "Why?" I would hope you would know why not to climb a clock. Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? What do we call those? Thorns. Why are there hairs up inside of your nose? She started with why and then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." So all good scientists ask a lot of questions. And these are all the questions she's asking. Lots and lots. Here we go. Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. Why, what, how, when, why? What does it do? What is it for? What will it be the same? Will it? Why won't it? What if? Why? How soon is now? How can I find out? Why does it? How? How does it? Can I? Why? And then she has some illustrations of some planets. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Oh my goodness, this page is awesome. Look at this. Woo! Now, I love a good explosion, but I don't know if we're going to do that in STEM. That'd be a mess. Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc. Havoc is another word for craziness. At school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the traits of a great scientist. Ada was busy that first day of spring testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing. What a horrible stench. That's a smelly, something smells bad. Whacked her right in the nose. A pungent aroma that curled up her toes. Aroma is another word for smell, and pungent means really bad, so a really bad smell. "Zowie!" said Ada, which got her to thinking. What is this source of that terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it still stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She'd start at the start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. So if you take a look at that picture, are there any clues in that picture of what might be stinking? I don't know. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. One hypothesis, that's an idea, One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. A terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. Stew is like a soup. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. So that means hypothesis 1 didn't work out, and she needed to try a new one. So anytime something doesn't work out, you have an idea, you try it out. If it doesn't work, you make a new idea. Then Zowie the stink struck again just like that. Hypothesis 2, it's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada tested. The test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" She's putting her in the washer. You don't do that to cats. That'd be bad news. Ada Marie, the thinking chair now. By the time we count 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said no. What? Ada queried. Queried is another word for questioned. Her father said, go! You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada, once more, could say nothing at all. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and Stu and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is it part of success? So she's saying, do I really have to make such a big mess to be successful at being a scientist? Our mess is a problem, and while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked 2. And each one of those led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. She scribbled, I skipped a line. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. What is she doing to the wall? Oh my goodness, you better not do that. Your parents will be very unhappy. Her parents calmed down and then came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. Gawk means to kind of like look and just, what is going on? She drew all over the walls. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, we'll figure it out. I think she needs a dry erase board, a great big one. And that's what they did. Because that's what you do. When your kid has a passion and a heart that is true, they remade their world. Now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction, which is fake, from fact, which is real. She asks lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. So instead of a dry erase board, they got her a big piece of chart paper that's on a roll, and so she can write on it, and then when this part gets filled up, she can pull it down and write some more. So they figured out a way that she could write all her thoughts and ideas down. And as for that smell, what can Ada Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question. And someday, who knows? All right, so tomorrow when you come to STEM, we are going to do an experiment, and we're going to try to figure out how to put two ingredients together to make something new. Very exciting. So you're going to watch the next little video and come prepared with some ideas and questions. Lots of why, what, how, and when is a good one too. See you tomorrow.